From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Thursday, December the 16th, 2021. We open with what appears to have been a terror attack tonight in the West Bank. The IDF said shots were just fired at Israeli civilians in Judea and Samaria. Those injured in the attack are now receiving medical treatment at the scene. The Times of Israel then reported that one of those injured, an Israeli man, died of his wounds. The other injured were said to have sustained light wounds. The shooting took place near an illegal outpost called Chomesh. The three victims were said to have been shot in their car while leaving Chomesh. IDF troops arrived at the scene and are looking for those responsible. We will have more on this for you tomorrow. The U.S. Senate passed a $768.2 billion defense bill yesterday in a vote of 88-11, which includes hundreds of millions of dollars of funding related to Israel. The National Defense Authorization Act includes the U.S.-Israel Cybersecurity Cooperation Enhancement Act, a bipartisan bicameral measure that was introduced by Democratic Senators Jackie Rosen and Sheldon Whitehouse and Republican Senators Susan Collins and Todd Young, alongside Republican Representative Andrew Garbarino and Democrat Jim Langvin. The bill also includes funding for U.S.-Israel missile defense cooperation. Pro-Israel lobby AIPAC welcomed the passage, tweeting yesterday, "A strong Israel makes America more secure," saying Democrats and Republicans again came together to strengthen and expand the U.S.-Israel relationship. Congress authorized vital provisions in the FY22 NDAA to fund Iron Dome, strengthen U.S.-Israel cooperation, and counter Iran. Israel's security agency, the Shin Bet, shared today that they arrested two men last month, a Palestinian man from Gaza and an Arab-Israeli man from Jaffa, suspected of gathering information on the Iron Dome and other military information from Israel on behalf of and recruited by terror group Hamas. The Palestinian man was charged with belonging to a terrorist organization, giving information to the enemy, and espionage. The Arab-Israeli man was charged with contacting a foreign agent, giving information to the enemy, and disclosing the decision to commit treason. Israel is sending a large shipment of coronavirus vaccines to Africa. Israel's Foreign Minister Yair Lapid shared the news on Twitter, writing, "In the coming weeks, Israel will send 1 million AstraZeneca vaccines to African countries through COVAX, the international mechanism for the equitable distribution of vaccines." Lapid wrote, "I'm happy that Israel can contribute and be a partner in eradicating this pandemic from the world." COVAX is supported by the United Nations and co-led by the World Health Organization. It aims to distribute vaccines to poorer countries. Israel's President Isaac Herzog met today with Eitan Stibe, a former fighter pilot in the Israeli Air Force and the country's second ever astronaut, who is set to embark on a mission to the International Space Station next year. Herzog presented Stibe with a special gift, a glass cube inscribed with a prayer for the welfare of the State of Israel. The prayer written in the handwriting of Isaac Halevi Herzog, Israel's first chief rabbi and the president's grandfather, who is the author of the prayer. Stibe said, "I'll take this prayer with me, and as it says here, from the edge of the heavens, it will return here to Israel, to the president's residence." Israel's first astronaut was Ilan Ramon, killed in the Space Shuttle Columbia tragedy, with whom Stibe was close friends. Stibe will be part of the first private ISS crew as a mission specialist, with Commander Michael Lopez Alegria, mission pilot Larry Connor, and fellow mission specialist Mark Pathy, taking off from Cape Canaveral this coming February. Taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Thursday, December the 16th. At 7 o'clock, it's Talmud Study. At 7:30, Ellie Cohanim sits with former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, and then with talk show host Mark Levin on Global Perspectives. At 8, Jonathan Tobin speaks with composer and educator Daniel Asia on Top Story. At 9, Mark Golub sits down with Israeli filmmaker Joseph Cedar on L'chaim. At 10, author Daniel Sokatch talks about his book, Can We Talk About Israel? A Guide for the Curious, Confused, and Conflicted. And coming up next, it's Israel in Style. And that's the JBS News Update for Thursday, December the 16th, 2021. I'm Teisha Bader. Stay healthy, stay well.